Extra point taken this week as we look forward to Niners Chiefs. I feel like I've had a combative relationship with 49ers fans this season. Brock Purdy conversations, tricky. Not everybody's on the same page. There's some disparate narratives. Obviously, I'm being critical of the defense, which I think is fair, but there's, okay. Not, he's still got stars, so there's still a good unit. The one thing I will say about a Niners Super Bowl is, and in terms of like what I'm interested in and what is meaningful to me, legacies defined as we approach this game, right? Like I said, I'm so done with this Patrick Mahomes GOAT talk. What matters to me is this. It's really, really important to me that Kyle Shanahan wins a Super Bowl. And I think this is his shot to do it. Last summer, Lindsey Jones, who's our editor here and she runs our NFL team, she covered the Broncos for a long time. She was working on the Hall of Fame candidacy for Mike Shanahan, right? And she asked me about some like the Shanahan system stuff a couple of times, just as she was like helping like work on like what that presentation will look like, what that argument will look like, what the story will be on Shanahan as he potentially makes the Hall of Fame. This being Mike Shanahan, and it really like lit a light bulb up for me where you start thinking about how coaches make the Hall of Fame and what makes coaches impactful. And I'm not a good person to talk about this because I don't have the scope for it, right? I'm young and like I didn't like grow up like around all this contextualized stuff and whatever. Like I don't tend to like care too much about who makes the Hall. That's not like a critical thing for me, like the legacy of the game or whatever. What I do know is that like Kyle Shanahan is the defining offensive coach of the last decade of football. What I do know is that like Kyle Shanahan is the defining coach of my experience covering football. And I don't think that's going away anytime soon. One, everybody's running his stuff. Two, he's running his stuff better than everybody is, right? Not only was he the introducer, not only was he the revolutionary and the innovator, he remains ahead of everybody else. He's still outdistancing the pack almost a decade later from when he really started to introduce his offense. Shanahan is a singular figure. When we look back in 10 years and 20 years and 30 years and 40 years and 50 years, Sheil, and we go to tell the story of the NFL football in the 2010s into the 2020s. What year is it? 2020? Yeah. In the 2020s. Kyle will be the preeminent figure, in my opinion, in terms of coaches. And I was on his Wikipedia page the other day, and on his Wikipedia page, under career highlights and accolades, it says AP NFL Assistant Coach of the Year 2016. And that's it, man. When you go and you look at these other, like you go look at Andy and you go and you look at Bill and you go and look at all these other coaches, they just got less and less of years they appeared, they won Coach of the Year, and years that they appeared in the Super Bowl, and years that they did this, that, and the other thing. And for Shanahan, like there's just not a lot of hardware right now in the cabinet for the guy, right? He wasn't even like an assistant on a team that won the thing, right? Like I am not qualified to say what makes a guy a Hall of Fame guy, nor am I interested in doing that now while the guys are active. It's the same Mahomes GOAT conversation to me. But I have this vision of me in 15 years trying to convince some yuppie 26-year-old like I am now, hey, Kyle Shanahan's a Hall of Fame coach. And that yuppie 26-year-old is going to go on virtual reality Twitter or whatever we're on those days and be like, LOL, no rings. He's bad. He couldn't do it. He couldn't hack it. And that's going to drive me nuts. And so the legacy that interests me the most as we approach the Super Bowl is not Mahomes. It's not the GOAT thing. That's boring to me. The legacy that interests me the most right now is Kyle. And I really am rooting for the guy to get a ring exclusively to make my life easier 15 years down the road from now.
I would very much enjoy someone responding to you with LOL, no rings. I mean, he's on that. For me, like it just feels it's like a matter of time. Whether it's when you keep knocking on that door, it happens. No, I shouldn't say it does not always happen. There you can bring up examples where it doesn't happen. But man, this is the fourth time in 5 years that he's gotten to at least the Final Four. And of course, this will be the second time in 5 years where he reaches the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. And that was the first 3 times with Jimmy Garoppolo. And now the last 2 with Brock Purdy. And even if you love Brock Purdy, I mean, look at the teams that consistently, like if you go back over the last 25 years and look at which franchises had these runs of continually being in the Final Four, you will find, like Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes. I mean, if you just look at the AFC from the last 10 years since like Peyton Manning's Broncos days to now, it's pretty wild. It's like 4 quarterbacks. Burrow got there once, and then it's Mahomes, Brady, and Peyton Manning. And so it's been remarkable what he's done. Everything you said is right. I mean, he has evolved. They've won consistently. He showed an ability to do more with less. The way he manages that coaching staff, like we just talked about teams facing their coordinators leaving and what a big deal that is. And he just replaces year after year after year, not just coordinators, other members of his coaching staff. So I feel like he'll get one eventually. This is a great shot. He's favored. He's got a great team. They've been a great team all season long. They've got some issues on defense, but man, offensively, when they needed to basically have no margin for error in the second half, and did they get some bounces? Yes, they got some bounces, but 5 possessions, 5 scores in the second half of that game. Like, it's always with them. It just feels like a matter of time until they get going, until they string together a drive, until they get an explosive play on offense, and they're right back in the game. So I would agree with you. Yeah, I think like Mahomes, this isn't a defining game for Mahomes. Like if they lose, it'll be like, oh man, I'll be like, wow, I was surprised they even got that far. And if they win, I'll be like, oh my God, I can't believe he did that with this team. But either way, I'm not going to be crushing the guy one way or another. For Shanahan's health, you feel like he needs this one. I mean, just
think about the villain that Shanahan will
years.
become. Think about what the man's going to be doing in the lab in the summer of 24. If he gets it to the Super Bowl again and Mahomes beats him again, he's going to be just like concocting vile, just affronts to nature in the lab of 2024 football. He's going to be drafting it's just all offensive skill position players every draft, just bringing in any defensive coordinator he wants, just do something over there with Nick Bosa. I don't care. He's going to have 9 gaps. It's going to be the sickest offense you've ever seen if they beat him again, and he has to go back to square one and continue to find a way to evolve. The poor sick man. I hope he wins it. Yeah, for his mental health, let alone for his eventual Hall case.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking that. I was just thinking like his poor personal assistant who had this trip to the Bahamas planned for like the 1 week of vacation they get every year. And it's going to be like, get your butt in the office Monday after the Super Bowl, 6 a.m. You're not going anywhere. We got work to do. So yes, for the people who work around him, it might be nice for them if he wins this one. All right. We will, of course, be talking about all of that next week from Las Vegas, Nevada. Site of the Super Bowl. We'll be there.